First and foremost, our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers for joining us today and contributing their valuable perspective to this panel discussion. Sanjeev Lahiri, CHRO at GRP Limited, Radhika Niranjan, founder and CEO at RNI Associates, Abhishek Gupta, head of HR and admin at ZPay, Shivani Malhotra, partner and MD at Positive Vibes Consulting Private Limited, and Ravi Rangaraju, HR Director, People and Leader Advisory at Pharmaceuticals. We are truly honored to have such accomplished leaders with us, bringing their expertise and experience to today's discussion. To know more about our speakers, you may follow them on LinkedIn. Their profiles have been shared in the chat window. For more information about HRA and our upcoming events, please refer to the links shared in the chat. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's session, Mr. Ravi Rangaraju, and invite him to take over as we move into this insightful and engaging discussion. Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
Hi Faisal, thank you so much. Namaste and good afternoon, good evening everyone, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Ravi. I am a very proud citizen of the United States of Bengaluru. Depending on where you stay in Bengaluru, whether it is Whitefield is one state, Koramangala is one state, Mysore Road is one state. So that's where we are, and I'm a very proud citizen there. Depending on where you're joining us from the country, we are either in the middle of the rainy season, or Shivani said she's in dry Gurgaon. The rainy season is already over. Even Faisal is in Ahmedabad, so it's just drizzling there. But Sanjeev says it's pouring cats and dogs in Mumbai. I'm sure Abhishek and Radhika also are from Mumbai there. Now, every year I buy an umbrella. I go to Amazon, I check out which is the latest umbrella which is there for me, which is completely waterproof. And some umbrellas they promise that it can even withstand a cyclone. It says you can go to Mumbai and stand in the cyclone, you will not get wet at all. But guess what happens? I still get drenched, despite buying the best of the best umbrellas in the market. Similarly, that's what is happening today as well in the industry. All of us are on a buying spree of lot of HR tools. Now, getting ready for monsoon is one thing, but really being prepared for what's coming is a different thing always. So are we really buying tools or are we getting ready for the monsoon? Is something that we need to think. So similarly, from a very, very important topic that we're discussing today is, are we just going on buying tools in the market from an AI perspective, or are we getting our organization holistically ready? So that's what we are here to debate today. Let me start with a couple of data points and then we'll get right into the questions. I was reading a Gartner's HR practice survey where they interviewed multiple CXOs. And of that, right? So they looked at the readiness gap. And out of whatever participants, 197 CXOs, they revealed that only 27% of them have a comprehensive AI strategy. And only 20% believe their workforce is truly AI ready. Now, everyone wants AI, but few really feel they're ready for it. Now, when you look at this Gartner survey, which I will share the link later here in the chat, Gartner calls it what is called as the enablement illusion. Now, the survey revealed that in the shift to an AI-powered workforce, most leaders are mistaking basic access or adoption metrics for transformation. I have given access to all LLMs to my colleagues. Now let transformation happen. That's not going to happen. It's just giving basic access to colleagues. So that is why they're calling it as enablement illusion, because it is hiding the risks and draining ROI, the investment versus ROI of using AI tools. Now that itself isn't a very big people problem. Now there's another survey from Harvard Business Review, and they surveyed a lot of participants, among which 94% of respondents say well-connected data, processes, and applications are highly important to successful AI adoption. And less than a third say that these elements are well connected in their organization today. So there's a lot of massive say versus do kind of a gap. So the real question that is hiding in today's topic is, it's not which AI tool should we buy, it's have we really built the organizational muscle to actually use it? That's exactly what we're going to unpack with four of our luminaries on the panel, which I'm very grateful to moderate for. And we will see this from very different lens because you have our HR leaders joining us from different industries. Right. So let's begin with Sanjeev. A question for you, Sanjeev. When GRP buys an AI tool, it could be a HRMS module or a chatbot or whatever the kind of tools that are available in the market today. Just walk us through what exactly happens the first 90 days. Does adoption match the pitch which these people would have made when you're buying the tools?
Well, Ravi, thank you so very much for this question. And I'm actually debating because we being on a public platform, what must I reveal? Because, and I'm sure most of us are going through the same dilemma as organizations, because honestly, adoption of technology and rather getting in the technology, and over the last over the next 90 days, the thing that comes up very clearly is basically the gap, right? The gap between readiness, the gap between between the organization which is which had actually thought through. Now, just stepping, I will give my most honest answer, so don't worry on that. But if I just take a step back, I'm seeing three trends that are happening in terms of adopting or selecting and buying AI stroke tech tool. One, decision been made by probably the CEO and the CIO. People around are consulted. However, two decision points comes in. What the CIO likes or the CEO finds it very interesting from their own circles. And third, of course, the cost. And right. The second thing that happens is that we do some tools, we do some testing, here and there to solve my today's problem. And if something like this is sorted, like for example, more often than not, I have a problem in handling CVs, which mind you, ATS would have sorted long ago, but still I need something better. So I will go and buy a tool that fits my pocket and gives me some kind of stuff, and I'm so okay, I have adopted AI and so on and so forth. And this is happening. Multiple tools, multiple functions, multiple organizations. Forget the word readiness at all. So try to have something plug and play and using. And the third one is even more interesting. The third one is organization X has done that, therefore we must. So when things go like this, the reports that you just read out, Gartner and Harvard, this something was predicted by McKinsey 2 years ago, where they had said that more than 70% of the organization, they don't even know what they want. Yeah. Even if they are getting AI, the access is once again probably based on levels, not roles. So you are the CEO, you get complete access probably, all boxes checked, but you are somewhere, a rookie, but that guy has to actually work. They get multiple levels of roadblocks, if I may, to get their work done. And third is the whole aspect of adopting AI. Okay, I have got a tool, then now the tool is intelligent, the tool must work. We forget the cardinal rule of any digitization, which is garbage in is garbage out. So and this is an intelligent tool, at times maybe claiming to be a little more intelligent than humans. So it gets trained the wrong way. And then we know what happens. What we do in GRP, honestly, as I was saying in the introduction, we are one of the world's largest recyclers and compounders of rubber, nylon, and plastic. Why I'm bringing this here is simply because of the context, because sustainability and recycling as a sector is still not as much tech adopted, if I know. It also depends upon my workforce demographics and their talent level. What we are trying to do, going slow, actually going slow, trying to understand what is going to fit in here. And for us, the first challenges that we would want to sort, and the strategy is to first actually try to adopt intelligent tools for the shop floor. And then essentially, get the functions like HR sync to it. We have an HRMS, very basic, simple to use. People understand it, people are using it. So that I'm happy with it. Now, how do I really integrate the two? The other thing that we are also trying to do is to see, okay, what more we can do. So not necessarily solving a problem of today, what is bothering me today. I'm really trying to see if I am getting a tool, what is it going to do for me? So yeah, has AI been adopted all over? No, as I'm saying, experiments are still happening. Some use cases are being made, because in this entire sector, I don't have any use cases for that matter. I can't compare my processes with one of the most mechanized or most digitized manufacturing processes in any other industry. That won't work for me. So yes, cautious steps, but there is a plan. And yep, celebrate the success, learn from what we missed. A long
Sure.
answer.
No, thanks. Thanks, Sanjeev. I think the key takeaway is, in this world where everybody is suffering from FOMO, now you're one of those organizations that is going a little slower, right? Taking one step at a time rather than doing a large scale implementation and then worrying about it. My friend actually was evaluating a vendor recently to evaluate the employee engagement scores. It's an AI powered organization. They said they're giving about 105 data points from the employee engagement survey. I mean, how will you look at that? I mean, 105 data points. It's a problem of plenty. Good. Let's get a outside in perspective. So Radhika, I'd like to get your view on this. Now, across the companies that you advise as a advisor from the outside, now what's the telltale sign that a company has bought AI, but it isn't actually AI ready? They bought a lot of tools, but they're not ready yet.
So, a very typical question that comes to us as a consultant at RNI is, why are my people not performing even when I have given them everything they need? So we ask them, okay, what is everything they need? They would start with ChatGPT, go on to all the possible tools which claim to be AI powered. Some of those tools are ATS friendly, where there are so many bugs that the tool also has not identified what is happening. There are these, you said 125 data points, right? And nobody knows what to do with that. Best part is AI powered tools that analyze what someone is thinking by a mood reaction, which could or could not be given intentionally, which is a by the way click because it comes the first time you open your HRS in the morning. And the worst part is the companies expect the HR to treat this at face value that this is true and work on everything that comes out of it. So the concept that is taken by the client is, I have given you a tool which is AI powered, which is artificial intelligence, which means it must be right. So the assumption, underlying assumption that AI is right is a big threat. Second, you have given the tool, but does your team know how to use that tool effectively? For that, the oldest AI of the universe, which is Apna intelligence, has to be sharp enough to adapt to that AI tool also, right? So, those gaps are very evident. We have spent the money, we need results now, is another unreal expectation. Even if you have all the machine learning models in the world, the model needs to be trained on your data first, right? If we are dealing with assumed data in the open source universe, then it is not going to be relevant to what you want in your life. So these are some very evident gaps, not only from a purpose of, from a lens of technology, but also from the lens of companies' expectations, especially in HR, where we are dealing with sensitive assets of the organization, which is so vulnerable, so variant, so vibrant, and so different. Multi-generational workforce is there. Each one has a different thought process. We can't put one shoe on all feet and say that, no, you have to respond. And because AI said this, it's right. The human judgment is still very much prevalent when it comes to figuring out how a messy human emotion works. And applying blind tools to that is really not done. So many times we have to discourage our clients that don't go all in with AI. You can use it to, eliminate some redundant tasks, some follow-ups, some kind of efficiency building, definitely yes. But first, you learn the tool as much as the tool learns you. Only then it will be effective. It just can't be like, apply and move on and we are done with it. So let's move to the next tool. Doesn't work that way.
Sure. No, thanks a lot, Radhika, for that insight. I mean, when you started by saying, companies say, we've given all the tools, why are not people using it? It takes me back to my childhood when my mother would say, or my dad would say for that matter, I've given you the books, I've given you a laptop, I've given you everything. Why are you not studying? Why are the scores not coming? So that's where we are right now. So Abhishek, let's pivot to you. ZepPay is a tech native, very digitally fluent business. Now, does that make AI readiness easier for you compared to our other panelists here? Or does it just move the goalposts higher because you're already there in the AI race? So any example you could share with us on that one?
Sure. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you so much for giving this time. So honestly, both, if I, say that way, being tech native gives you a faster start, no doubt about it, and a much higher bar to clear. The easy pass first. Let me discuss the easy part, which is easy for us, right? So my folks or my people aren't really scared of the tools. I don't spend a couple of weeks convincing anyone to just open an app, right? In a crypto company like us, if something has a login and an API, they must have already tried it before I have even finished a security review. That's the reality. So we skip the fear, but we don't skip the readiness. Here's the trap nobody wants you about, right? Being digitally fluent quietly convinces you that, yes, you are AI ready, no doubt about it. But those are two very different things. Knowing how to use the tool is not the same as having clean data, clean ownership, and the judgment to know where the model should keep its opinions to itself. Now, that's the difference. Now, let me give you a very quick example that happened with us, right? We rolled out an AI screening tool for hiring. Technically flawless, reads every resume, ranked whole pipeline in seconds. There was just one problem that we realized is it fell in love with the wrong candidate, with the wrong kind of people. What happened? It rewarded clean, keyword perfect resumes. But some of our best people in our industry, they don't come in a very tidy format. They are not self-taught. uh, I mean, they are self-taught. They're not really sometimes very fancy degree holders. They're ex-traders. They're community folks who run a Discord of 50,000 people with no fancy title on the top. The tool kept scoring them low and scoring the polished but averages one high. Now, here the technology was never the bottleneck, never the bottleneck. Our definition of a good candidate was we had to feed it who had actually succeeded here and who not the one who looked good on the paper. So the goalpost move for a brutal reason, you see. So when your whole team knows what great software feels like, a mediocre AI tool doesn't get adopted. It gets ghosted rather. It quietly becomes the most expensive Slack channel nobody opens. So that's where I think I come from, and that's where our story comes from. So no, if I summarize, being tech native doesn't mean that you have won the race. It just means you cleared the starting line faster. You can still run the wrong race really, really efficiently.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight. Uh, so Shivani, let me bring you in again to provide an outside in perspective, because you've been on both sides. You work for corporates, now you're consulting with other organizations, so you're having the best of both worlds. So how do you see this, whatever Abhishek explained right now, from a change management lens per se? Is this fundamentally a technology adoption problem, or is it a people or a culture kind of a problem? How do you see this?
So Raju, first of all, it's a great question. Sorry, Ravi. Ravi Rangaraju. What do you prefer to be called, Ravi or Raju?
RRR.
RRR. Okay. That's a good one. Okay, so see, the thing is that technology can be rolled out in weeks. We all know that. But unfortunately, behavior doesn't come with an install now button. And that to me is, somewhere where I feel organizations misdiagnose the AI challenge. We buy the license, we integrate the platform, we give access to people, for tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, or any other tool, and we assume that adoption will follow. We follow it up with training sessions, and training sessions is equal to adoption. That is what most of the organizations do, but access is not adoption. and adoption is not transformation. And I think organizations, till the time they keep measuring the success of AI readiness through the number of logins, through the licenses, through the number of tools deployed, it's not going to work out. It's not going to lead to adoption. The most important question is that what has actually changed in the way people work? And I usually like to give, examples and analogies from Bollywood, because I feel that we all have grown up and we all resonate with it a lot. At least I do. So again, here, AI adoption is a little like that movie Lagan that we all saw. And like you said, RRR, like you said, that, my father said that I've given you the tools, the books, the guides, the coaching, but still you're not scoring well. And that's exactly what happened in that movie. The villagers were given access to a completely new game that was unknown to them, which was cricket. But merely having the bats and the balls and the wickets did not make them into a winning team. So they first had to understand the game. They had to unlearn, some instinctive ways of playing. They had to practice repeatedly and figure out who was good at what, build confidence, and eventually, we saw the ending of that movie. And that's what exactly I think organizations are facing with AI today. Um, Technology is the bat and ball. You can buy it, you can distribute it, you can train people on the rules. But the more interesting question is, has the way, that the work gets done in your organization actually changed after you've deployed all this? Are people using AI only to draft an email or summarize a document? Or are they actually beginning to rethink workflows, rethink decision making, customer experience, problem solving? Are they really using for that? So honestly, to your question, I would not frame this as a technology versus people, but I think it's a mix of both. And there's another very important dimension that we shouldn't underestimate when we are having this debate, which is the fear. If employees hear the word AI transformation and they interpret it as job reduction, you cannot expect them to adopt, expect curiosity from them, experimentation, adoption, all of that. People will not experiment with freely with something that they quietly are thinking that this may make me redundant. So there has to be an equally strong conversation around trust, and that's where the change management part comes into picture. Why is AI here? What will still remain human, uniquely human? How will the roles evolve? What new skills do people need, when this AI comes into picture? And honestly, at Positive Vibes, we've seen this quite practically. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, we were approached by a very big BPO, which had invested crores of rupees, into getting the AI tool and the licenses for their people, but now they're struggling to get the ROI. So we had to actually run an AI acceleration lab for them, which was nothing but a change management workshop where people actually reflected on, how can AI make my life better? Which recurring problems can I solve using AI, which would make my day, go well? What workflows, can I design to work more smartly? And how can I improve my speed and the quality of my decision making? So for me, that is where change management, and that's the kind of change management that needs to happen when you are, investing in onboarding any kind of an AI tool. It's just not about the training sessions, and it's not just about getting people to learn how to use it. I think it's much deeper. And if I go back to the Lagan example that I gave, I think giving everyone that bat and ball means you've introduced the game, but it doesn't mean that you've actually built a winning team. So that, to me, is the difference between a company that has bought AI versus a company that has genuinely become AI ready.
Awesome. The Lagan example was really good. I mean, that really set the topic, right? So fantastic. Radhika, I see you raised your hand. Anything you would like to add to this, please?
Yes, in fact, there is one question which is a bottom line for any adoption to happen, with respect to especially the AI tools, as in what is the purpose of this? Now, most times companies decide independently that this will solve my problem and bring in a tool. For instance, in an HR, there was something called There was a tool which was AI powered, which was specialist in neutral exit analysis, which means that I will analyze someone, the reasons for why they have gone after they have gone. And this company that I was working for invested a lot of money into this tool. The result, however, was why would an ex-employee really go to a tool and answer a question after he or she has no business with that company where they have left? Now, the silence, of course, was interpreted differently that, oh my God, we have really mistreated our people. Perhaps they don't even want to come back to us after they have left. So that gave a different level of insight. But then, sometimes the purpose itself is not really understood and a tool is implemented. And that does not make one AI ready. It just makes it a very, very expensive, costly mistake. And then somebody at the top blames an executor, and that person gets the flag. So this is a very common thing that has been observed. So, in the race to prove that, oh, we are so tech savvy, let's not just jump the gun without understanding what is the purpose and addressing the fear like how Shivani has been saying.
Awesome. Thanks, Radhika. So fantastic insight. I mean, I got responses on both ends of the spectrum. We started off with FOMO, how we are all moving towards the fear as well on the other extreme, that AI adoption may mean right sizing the organization and job cuts. So we saw that if I have to summarize what we have discussed so far, depending on which industry we are, it's like a relay race. So somebody is ahead and somebody is behind in this. So they're all taking their positions. And like Abhishek mentioned, just because you're ahead does not mean you're there yet. You still need to run the race. So you still need to ensure whatever you're implementing is really, really important, and you go through all of that. Behaviors itself do not come with the install now button. That's a very good example, because we're dealing with humans. It's not like a software update that you don't, everything runs from day one. We need to work through with people. And most importantly, it's the purpose, end of the day, right? Why are you doing this? Is it because your neighbor did it? Or is it because I really need to be doing it? So that brings me to a very important part, the next session, the next part of our panel discussion. We're moving from the tools part of it to actually looking at what real AI readiness looks like. So Sanjay, let me come back to you with this question. Now, if you had to name that one non-negotiable that an organization needs before buying any AI tool, not after buying, now what would that be? What is that one non-negotiable?
Well, I think Shivani, Radhika, and you have already given the answer. It is definitely the why. I mean, there cannot be, and okay, if I have to, and the question which at times we ask in the organization is, it's not about what tool we will buy, but what are we going to change? Which metric are we going to touch? Because yeah, I mean, by now I think we all know that one is this entire thought process, the mind map that goes in deciding a particular tool or a solution is actually influenced by a lot of stuff, right? Radhika nicely brought in that context that will people really be interested to respond to a tool or a bot when they have nothing to do with the organization? And it is true. Similarly, I know, I have seen quite a few of my colleagues taking in bots, or rather getting solutions for predictive analysis in terms of why, what is the expectation, I'm trying to choose my words, of the people leaving when they're anyway fighting attrition. So they thought that they're going to get insights which will help them prevent it. But what happened, lo and behold, attrition jumped to a state and people are now telling to their face that you are now scouting on me. You are trying to breathe through my nose, but get into my mind. I don't trust you. And it has happened. So quite a few of those investments or those things that the organizations have done have actually backfired. Goes back to asking the thing is that what did they want to achieve? And people don't leave organizations only for money or only for a career jump. Have they really seen what people would have said earlier in the organization? If certain voices have been silenced, then they have already created their own grave. I mean, we can't do much about it. So, I mean, without mincing words, definitely the why. Why do we need it, and what is it going to change is something that I'm sure each one of us and our leaders need to ask. I mean, whenever there is either a proposal or a decision being made on a particular tool. The other point that I will also really, I mean, just touch upon is also which once again we discuss is about this fear. Will I be left out? Is my job still um, will my job still be valid if this tool comes? If we are not able to, and I think the answer to this also comes from that what, the why and the what, because this communication happens much before the tool is decided. Then we also know, I will also probably be able to guess the adaptability rate, and most importantly, be able to take away where people will see value in utilizing it, because the AI on its own can't do much or can't do anything for that matter. That end of the day, the decisions come in onto us. Now, you gave the example, I think Abhishek gave, right? The example of the intelligent ATS, which was focusing on certain things, the keyword probably. It takes time. It takes it. I mean, while in one way we need to be open to work with colleagues who are non-humans, who are going to help us at our, to deliver our responsibilities effectively. At the same time, they must be trained like any other, call it MT, who joins us to work. Otherwise, things are going to fall apart. So very, 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 I mean, as much as importance we give to the why and the what, I think, and the change management end of the day, adaptation is not IT story. It is essentially human change management.
Like the way you nicely put it, we'll have to work with colleagues that are non-human. So the way you refer to the agents out there. Radhika, let me get your view on this. Now, whenever you do any engagement survey with people, over the years, a few areas have generally scored low. One of them is a skill gap. Now, people still feel I don't have all the skills that I need to do my job effectively. So that keeps coming up in the surveys, and even the few surveys that I gave as an example as well. So I'd like to hear from you practically, how should an HR function build AI fluency in a workforce? Like Sanjeev said, sometimes you don't need these, right? When the workforce didn't ask for these kind of tools, but you still need to build AI fluency. How do you do that?
There are two things that I have learned over my entire spectrum of corporate plus consulting experience now, and that is most of us as humans don't know when enough is enough. Okay, for us, whatever we know is at times just not enough. We don't know enough. We think that there is so much more that we can learn. And while on one hand, we have some very confident individuals who feel that no, I know everything, the organization still believes that no, you don't know. Which is why a lot of these training programs requests come to us that come and let's do a training on, say, attitude, or let's do a training on attitude towards AI now. Then let's do a training on AI is your friend. And these are all some random topics that keep coming up because the confidence building needs to happen among employees that AI is not going to kill you. It's actually going to aid you. And people are not willing to listen to cliches. People are just not willing to listen to cliches. If I need to help someone build fluency in AI, it has to solve that specific individual's problem. Only then I am keen. Otherwise, I'm not keen. It's a very clear employee side message that comes out. So when I am approached that build something to improve the AI fluency for my team, I would first go back to the drawing board and understand what is it that the employee is doing, which is starting from the job analysis, what is expected, what are those redundancies which can get built over time, how can AI help eliminate and make this employee a star. End of the day, it's all about addressing what's in it for me for the employee. And then we build a program that says that if you adopt these 5 steps with an AI assistant or a coworker or a buddy who helps you, then you become the top contender for maybe the best employee of the month or the most efficient or the fastest finger first or whatever. Make it more attractive for them so they easily understand that there is a benefit, not a threat. Second, there is a natural resistance in employees. When an employer says do this, the tendency is let's not do this. I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, but it's a very natural response that kicks in. Arey, yaar, I already have 100 things on my table. What you're bringing one more training program, right? I know enough to do my job. I really don't need another skill training. This happens on the ground every single day. And this frustrates the HR more than the management because you cannot say no to the management, you cannot say no to your employees. So one thing that I do as a consultant and my team does as a consultant to HR partners is train the HR first to remain very objective and neutral. Accept things as they come and then try and make it attractive for both sides. When management insists I want training, understand what is their pain point and try and tell them that boss, this pain point can be addressed by action, this can be addressed by training. Let's not blend everything together and make a big, great big khichdi or biryani. It's not going to work. So put perspectives right in the management arena, and minimal but required programs can be run for the employees at their pace. So then make it a game. We implemented very simple gamified versions of amplified snake and ladders at one of our client companies, where we said that every skill you build, you climb a ladder because you become more reliable to the team. It gets you more promotions. It makes you the focal point of management, go to when they need to solve a problem. And when you remain in one place, you do not upskill yourself as per the need of your role. The snake naturally catches you, so you go into the set of crybabies or cribbers or people who get frustrated over a period of time. So we make it more relatable this way. Try and bring the child in you onto the fore and realize by yourself that okay, I really need to get into this program. Only then they get ready for the scaling initiative.
Thank you. That's an interesting take. Learning through snake and ladders when the snake comes and catches you. Today, everybody needs to realize that earlier skill used to be like pickle. It would have a big shelf life, but today's skill is like milk. And skills expire faster than milk today. So that is something that we need to realize. The snake comes and catches you very, very fast. Now, as we go on adopting AI agents in the workforce, so Abhishek, my question for you is, let's come to certain HR processes, right, where employees have to interact with a bot or an HR agent. How do you get employees to actually trust an AI-driven process rather than quite a resisting it or even gaming the process, for example? How do you do that?
Okay, so for this question particularly, first let's be honest about why people resist. If we take a step back, it's not because it's AI, it's because they can't see what it does. They can't argue with it. And deep down, they suspect it was installed to watch them, not help them particularly. And to an extent, skepticism is real or rational because roughly 85% of the workers still want a human making a final call on hiring. That's not anti-tech. That's maybe just sensible. So we don't treat trust as a PR problem. We treat it as a design problem. And there are 3, 4 ways that we tackle that. First of all, keep the human in the loop. You must have heard about it. Human in the loop thing. Anything that matters. The AI draft suggests, but a human decides. And we say that loud on repeat mode. Second, no black boxes. So if the system flags or ranks you, and you can see why, and you can challenge it. People game when they don't understand. Third, uh, we are loud about what it's not for, and that's very important to understand. I work, uh, I work with the people with a room full of privacy native people. These are the folks who use sometimes 2 VPNs to order lunch. So naming the guardrails buys more trust than any 12-page policy PDF can ever will. You just name it. You just be very transparent with it. And maybe the last is the point, and this is my favorite. point the AI at their pain first related to them. So faster reimbursements, instant answer to the queries, policy questions, solve their problems first before you ever point at the performance. Now that is very, very important. I'll give you an example that we did. So built an AI assistant for HR questions like everyone is building right now, nothing fancy about it. Leave, policy, investments, and we deliberately walled it off from anything touching com, performance, or exits, just to start with, right? Now, what we see is that in the few weeks, barely anyone using it. Now, in one of the all hands, someone asked, right, jokingly, so does it read my Slack, or can it read my Slack, and can it really, does it watch me? And that was a real question all along. So what we did is we did the opposite of what most companies do, or what's the natural course of thing. Instead of advertising that what everything it could do, we actually published what it could not see, what it do not have access to. Now this flipped the entire story, and the entire uses, it just didn't recover, but actually it tripled for that matter. Now people trusted it more once they saw the fence, not despite it. So you're getting my point, where I'm trying to make a point here. Because here's the thing from my side as well. You don't earn trust by explaining the algorithm. You earn it by making sure there's always a human to appeal to. It's not an automatic process. As I said, point the AI at people's problem before you point AI at the people. That's the difference, and that's how the trust can be gained. That's my story, or our story rather.
Awesome. That's really good. And I really like this. Trust is a design problem, right? And point the algorithm at the pain point rather than the people, and call out what it shouldn't be used for. So it became like this coffee badging at the height of hybrid working, right? When you said you can do hybrid flexi hours in office, some colleagues used to come, swipe, have a coffee, swipe out, and go back. I've done my quota for the day in office. So calling out what it shouldn't be for is really, really important. So Shivani, so that calls for a big change management. Now, from your OD lens,
Yeah.
how do you actually diagnose an organization whether it is actually AI ready? Now, the way you diagnose change readiness in organizations, is there any simple test that HR leaders on the call today can run for themselves? And which is the same question that Shreya is asking on the chat as well. How do you know that it is genuinely AI ready as an organization?
Yeah. I think that's again a very important question, as in how do we know how ready is the organization? We're all talking about organization should be AI ready and not AI enabled, but what's that test? So, from an OD lens, when we do these workshops, AI workshops, we do a pre-assessment, and it's a very simple test which tells us the level at which the organization is right now, and it's called the 5 A's. It's very simple to remember. It's access. The first one is access. Do your people have the right permissions, or are you giving it very selectively to a few people? Second is the ability. Are your people trained, which is a very basic thing. Are your people trained to use AI well, or are they just, to give you a meaningful output, not just experimenting with prompts? The third A is application. Can they do real value added work with AI, which is, real tasks, workflows, automation, and how much of AI is embedded into their day-to-day working, and for what? Like I said earlier, if it is only for formatting, documents, or if it is only for doing some basic research, then you're AI enabled, but you're not AI ready, honestly. Um, the fourth and the most important A that I personally feel makes a lot of difference in this journey is attitude. Is there curiosity and confidence in people, or is there fear, skepticism, and resistance? That's the most important, I would say, the litmus test to know whether an organization and its people are ready for adopting, AI. And the last one is accountability. So where, are the leaders asking questions that what has changed because of AI rather than how many people, are using AI? So it's not, the metric is not how many people are using these licenses or these logins. The question is what has changed in the organization after we've adopted this tool. So that's the very simple model, if I was to say. And specifically, So I would say out of these 5 A's, if your organization scores well on the first 2, which is access and ability, but low on application, attitude, and accountability, then like I said, you're AI enabled and not AI ready. And there's an even simpler test that I'd encourage HR leaders to run. But before that, they need to run it on themselves. So that test is that you go to any function and you ask them, you ask random people any one thing that you've done differently today because AI exists in the organization. So if people can show you a redesigned workflow, if people can show you a faster decision cycle or a better quality output, or a repetitive task that has disappeared, then you're beginning to see that readiness. But again, I would say HR first needs to ask that question to their own people: how much of AI is being used in their own function, rather than pushing it to the others, because it's all about credibility also at the end of the day. The other another thing, that just one last point, I'd like to add one more layer to this, which HR often misses, which is the manager behavior. Now, I may have employees who are super excited to use AI, but the manager still says that let's do it the way we've been doing. So adoption, there you go for adoption. I mean, it just stalls there, because so the most important question here is that what behavior is the manager rewarding? Is the manager encouraging the use of AI, or the solutions that come out of AI, the different ways of doing work that comes out of AI, or are they more, are they okay with the comfort zone? That is also one of the factors which, really drives how much of people would want to use AI in a function. So the, to sum it up, it's like, if AI disappeared tomorrow, you need to ask this question: if AI disappeared tomorrow, would your workflows really notice? And if the answer is no, you probably aren't AI ready yet. That's a simple statement if I was to sum it up.
That's a powerful thought. So a quick rapid fire before we open it up to the audience to questions. So just one minute answer, everybody. So the question is, one tip or one move an HR leader on this call today should make starting tomorrow, not to purchase another tool, but towards real AI readiness in their organization. One tip that you would give.
I think,
Sanjeev, would you like to- Yeah, go ahead. Radhika, yeah, go ahead.
so I think one tip is research well. 5 Ws and H remains relevant everywhere. Please research anything that you want to invest in first well on these parameters.
Okay, research well. Thank you. Sanjeev?
Maybe I'm tempting to say two. One is, first, you try, assess yourself, and you start using what you think is going to help you in your job the organization has given it or not. And of course, the second thing is, ask the story of the why and the what.
Okay,
Be
good.
clear.
Abhishek?
Be
Sure.
clear. Put it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think first of all, audit your data and your decision rights before you buy anything. So audit your data and your decision rights before you buy anything. What I mean by that is, if you can't say who owns the decision the AI is about to influence, you are not ready, and no tool will fix that. Trust me on this.
Okay, trust. Okay. And finally, Shivani.
So I feel HR leaders, like I've said earlier, need to role model this themselves, because one of the biggest, roadblocks is the fear part. So you can take away that fear if you role model it yourself, the AI adoption. And I would just say that don't build an organization that has AI. Build one that works differently because of AI. That for me, honestly, is AI readiness.
Truly fantastic insight. So if I have to just sum up our panel, that with the last 45 minutes we've spent, we're seeing data across all the extremes. So right from FOMO to fear. Having AI alone doesn't mean we're ready. We need to train it on the right data and contextualize it for our organization. Asking that basic question of that why, the purpose, is really, really important. Now, AI fluency should not be viewed as just another training program in the already big list that we have in the organization. Try to gamify it for people, play snakes and ladders to address the basic question WIIFM, the what's in it for me. Trust is a very, very important factor. People need to trust it. It's actually a design problem. It should solve this as there should always be a human in the loop. That's when people will start trusting. Then Shivani gave us the 5A methodology to trust AI, to check the AI readiness, which is about access, ability, application, attitude, and accountability. And finally, when you're preparing great food, first you have to try it out yourself, whether it is tasting good or no, before you serve it out to the others. So I think the jury is out, my dear friends, on whether are we really AI ready or we're just procuring AI tools, and the fantastic tips that all our panelists gave on what we need to do. So that's our panel discussion today. Let me open it up for questions, and back to you, Faisal.
Yeah, there are two questions, Ravi, in case you can see in the chat window, we can.
Yes. I think Shreya's question was already answered by Shivani, but
Okay.
anybody else would like to share their thought on this? How do you distinguish between AI that genuinely transforming business? I mean, we've discussed most of this. I mean, people have given examples. We can go to Shweta's question. When an AI initiative fails to deliver the expected value, who should the accountability be fixed? So that's a philosophical accountability question, like who will bell the cat kind of a thing. Is it the technology team? Is it the business leader or the leadership that approved the investment? So who should take the blame for this?
Can I answer this question?
Sure.
So I feel this is a collective accountability. It's a huge culture change that you're talking about, and culture change does not rest on one person or one team. I think the entire team that is behind, the decision whether we should, go in for an AI initiative or not. I think the entire team is collectively responsible for it, and there could be multiple reasons why it has failed, but I think the most important reason, and in my experience, what I have seen why AI initiatives fail is because the diagnosis is not done right. It's more like a cowherd mentality. Everybody else is doing AI is a threat for us, AI. So we also have to do it without realizing, without assessing whether my organization needs it, whether my people are ready for it, whether I have the environment that would support executing an initiative like this. Does my culture support it or not? And just going for it. I think in my experience, I have seen such AI initiatives falling flat when it is just done as, out of pressure rather than out of need. So I think it's the entire team's accountability, whoever is behind that decision of not actually doing any diagnosis and just going ahead and spending money.
Just
Awesome.
want
Thank
to
you.
add here, Ravi, in fact, a very interesting question, Shweta. If you, the question that was asked to us, a rapid fire, the one move an HR leader should make, what the question that I have, and the answer that I gave, I just repeat the answer again and see if you can find your answer. So I've given the answer that audit your data and your decision rights before you buy anything. Remember, if you can't say who owns that decision the AI is about to influence, you are not ready, and no tool will fix that. Again, I'm repeating, if you can't say who owns that decision the AI is about to influence, you are not ready. So that means in this case, what you're talking about, there was someone who couldn't say, or someone or organization didn't know that who owns the decision that AI is about to influence. Because when you say AI initiative fails, that means AI could not influence, because AI is all about influencing, not really doing anything for that matter, right? So that means nobody could find out that who was that person. And now there's a blame game, and in my whole example, the collective failures and all that stuff, that's all good to say, but naturally the guns will be at the head of the everyone, including the CHRO. And I think CHRO should be on the line for this more than anyone else.
Awesome. Very good.
If
Sanjeev,
I
yes.
can just add here, absolutely pertinent points of Shivani and Abhishek. But you know what? More often than not, I see, or rather, it's in my example, my experience, that the expected value, the ROI on a solution, on an AI solution, is more often than not number of heads that are going to roll. And that's not going to work. Are we also measuring the right metric? One, while we need to definitely make people accountable, while the diagnosis must happen with as much diligence, while who owns the decision is a superbly important question that we need to ask. for the tool and also within the organization. I think it also, let's not forget that all of us are experimenting. Right? Every organization is either choosing a tool because somebody else has bought it, or I think this looks good to me, so my organization must adopt, and so on and so forth. Give it some time. And I think the whole aspect of finding the value should be more on in terms of what is it going to change. And Shivani asked a very, very important point. I mean, rather, raised a very important point. Are my processes going to continue tomorrow if AI stops? I think that is also going to be an acid test. So without just putting people on the firing blocks, or putting the heads on the on the chopping block, better introspect, revive. Uh, AI is going to stay. That is life now. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
right.
Radhika.
And December 2025, I attended a conference in Dubai where there was this AI expert who came on stage and said, "Do you know 85% of companies and tools which are being implementing AI are all failing because nobody really knows what AI can do, and they're all just jumping the gun and getting ahead of their peers and competitors, so to say, to deal with the pressure that we are tech savvy. In such a scenario where we are all just trying to join the bandwagon, we are bound to fail if there is no clarity in terms of purpose, in terms of problems that one aims to resolve, in terms of utility. Factually, what business decisions does this influence and so on? So, when an AI initiative fails, Shivani, you're right that you're saying it's a collective failure. Titan story came up where it said that, one should have a freedom to fail, and that is something that most companies today speak about when something doesn't take off as planned. But that being said, if we have to experiment, let's experiment mindfully. I agree with Abhishek somewhere that one needs to be clear what is it that we want to implement before we really go ahead and implement. And if that decision has been taken, then the CEO, the CHRO, the CTO, all of them are on the block for the responsibility and accountability that this initiative should succeed. So if we are investing a sum of money, let's invest mindfully. Yes, there has to be a probability of success and failure which is calculated. There is a risk involved, but that doesn't mean that it can be left as a pre-funded. Okay, fine. If this fails, it's everyone's responsibility, so no one really owns it, and it's okay if it doesn't work. That shouldn't be the case.
Fantastic. I've been in two kinds of panel discussions. One panel, the question is, when will it end? The second kind of panel is, why did it end so soon? And today's panel is the other one, right? Why did it end so soon? Because the kind of answers, the responses, was very, very conversational and true from the heart. I really loved the insights, and we're right on dot on time. So let me hand this over to Faisal. Faisal, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi, for leading today's discussion with such energy and ease. Your thoughtful questions brought out the valuable insights from the panel. Thank you to all our esteemed panelists. Your perspective added tremendous value to today's discussion. For those eager to learn and grow, the recording of today's session is available on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. Thank you to all our participants for being part of the session. Your presence made the discussion even more meaningful. We look forward to welcoming you to our next session on the topic, the Great White Collar Disruption. Are we ready for AI's workforce revolution on August 20th, 2026? With that, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you for being part of this journey. Take care and farewell for now. Thank you all.
Thank you, folks. Thank you.
Faisal. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.